Live? All right, first thing you want to do is take off this cover. And so you just push on this little button and push up at the same time. That pops out, and you pop that off, set it aside. And then at that point, take your Phillips, insert it in the slot. Unplug it first, of course. That comes out. And so here, at this point, you kind of set that off to the side. Then we're going to start undoing these right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. You set those aside. Before I do this one, zoom in right here, John, on this thing. Because this piece is going to come off right here. And up in the top here, can you see this? It's got this nut. And so if you were to take this off and tip it upside down, that nut's going to fall off. And we need that in there, so just be aware that can come out. Alright, I've only got one more. The last one's going to be tight because it's
the only one holding it in now.
It's the only one holding it in. Oops. See, and there went that nut. Anyway, this is your gear motor, and that's, set that aside. And here are your pistons that we were talking about. So at this point, you can just take your pliers and grab it on the corner there.
Not in the middle.
Yeah, and they pull right out. So you got one.
Why aren't you taking that other one out?
I will. This one is smaller. It's the only one that's different.
So
there you've got these systems. And so these springs are hooked to them. And so you'll take the spring off, and this particular spring, I think yours may be different. Do you see that, John? How it's got, so right here you've got that thing going right there. And on this side it doesn't have it. I believe on the previous models to these ones that came out, you could do that one or this one. But if you stuck it on backwards, like, see if I can get this to balance. Can you see how it's kind of cockeyed? Can you tell?
Cocked a little bit, yes.
Yeah, it's not straight up and down. It's cockeyed. Versus straight up and down. So I believe on yours, Brady, it has the where you could actually clip it in on both sides, but one of them is going to be kind of cocked, and it won't work that way. You got to do the one where it's straight up and down. I'll see, that's kind of cockeyed right there. Okay, now that's cockeyed as well. So flip it around the other way. So it can be that way too. So if you had it, if you were to take that spring off and flip it to 180 and put it on, now it's cockeyed. Make sure you have it the correct way.
Standing straight up.
Standing straight up, yeah. So at this point, you'll take your new pistons, and you might look and see if there's wear on them, if there's something, if you're getting hard water to the service where you never can have soft water, we're assuming that water is getting by one of these seals, maybe an O-ring's bad, or maybe the piston itself is damaged. I don't know, but that's what we're assuming is happening. So you take your new ones. If you have any like Dow Corning 111, this would be a time to put it on these O-rings, just to kind of lubricate them up. It's a silicone grease. You'll take that and make sure the spring is attached and just start sliding them back in.
Making note not to put a big one in a small hole.
Well, they can't though.
It won't. Okay.
Yeah, so small one can only go in the small one. So now they're all in. At this point, you take your gearbox, and this piece right here is just gonna let's see here. Like that. Just make sure the wire's not in your way. How does that go? Yeah, so that wire needs to be out like that. So that'll fit like that. Might be nice to have two hands if you know, since you're not on a desk. But this is just going to sit in there. I mean, these gears are sitting like that, but they're just going to fit, each one of these is going to fit in one of these holes. So you just line it up. And grab one of your screws here. Come around and look up here, John. So yeah, just take your screw, put it in, and line it up with, you know, the right spot where you're at. Then just get it started. This part's somewhat tricky because of the springs.
Just get it started, you're not putting it tight.
Yeah, you're not going to put it tight and then start another one. And another one. And the last one.
Now, is there any trick to make sure that it is, you know, lined up?
No. No tricks. That one there. I don't want it to go in. Can't start that last one. Alright, I must have something off. There's no
Okay.
Okay, so I took it back off. I got all of them started, and then just, you know, work them in like you would a tire. Working in. Not doing all of them at once.
Just until what? It's
Now just till it's snug. You don't got to crank on it. Take your nut, like if you lost it like in my hand, and put it back in there.
just a 3/8 nut.
Yes. And then anyway, at this point, you're pretty much back together. You're done at this point. So take your wires and just kind of, you know, shove them back in there. And the way this goes back together, this corner is going to rest on that piece, and then you rock the rest of it in, so it slides in between there, where the circuit board slides in between there and there. So you put the corner of the circuit board there, and then we'll just rock it in. Shove your wires back there so they're out of the way. And at that point, you're hold on. Okay. Then we'll go back together like that. If you got a gap in it, like if in the corner you have a gap where it's kind of separated, then something's not right with the circuit board. Take it off and put it back on again. And then put this piece back on. You got these tabs right here. You put those in first. And once the tabs are in, just kind of push on that, go back down. And you're set. That's it. Turn it off.